Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. And yes, I know it's not Halloween yet. Yes, I suck at singing. Anyway, onto the video. Hi everyone, today's video we'll be talking about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Despite Michael Myers not being in this movie, it's part of the franchise, and I must talk about it. My first view of this movie when I finally got into horror movies, it caught me off guard by surprise that Michael Myers was not in this movie. As a teenager, I thought this movie was dumb and stupid and ridiculous, and this is way before I knew about the production history. Also, as a teenager, I had a hard time being invested in this movie. However, after killing off Michael Myers for good in Halloween 2, they wanted to go in a different direction. At the time when this movie came out, fans did not like this movie. I'm not sure how true this is. For what I read, when this movie came out, fans threw stuff at this scream shouting, "Where's Michael Myers?" Before making a sequel to Halloween, John Carpenter originally wanted Halloween 2 to be a different movie with no Michael Myers in it. In later years, this movie has gained a cult following. Despite Michael Myers not being in this movie, he's on the team when Tom Atkins' character was at a bar where they were advertising the first Halloween movie will be on cable television on Halloween night. As they say, it's the meta reference. At first, I didn't like the idea that Michael Myers was not in this movie, but since then I've warmed up and accepted the movie for what it is. I'm 50-50 with this movie. Part of this movie I liked, other parts didn't do it for me, which I'll discuss in this video. Despite me being the most enthusiastic fan of this movie, it does have a nice Halloween seasonal feel to it. This is something I agree with the movie's fan following. It does bring that October fall Halloween season feel. Seeing jack-o'-lanterns, Halloween decoration, kids excited to get their Halloween masks for Halloween, going trick-or-treating, forgetting canon that they love a lot. Tom Atkins' character is a dirtbag womanizer, a piece of shit. He's also not a good father and husband. He's very neglectful to his family. He drinks a lot. He slaps the nurse in the back when he's doing his rounds at the hospital. I get it though, everyone has their flaws, no one's perfect, and sometimes you never expect a guy like this who just randomly got involved to be the hero in this movie. Gee. The girl he meets is slightly younger to be his daughter, but she claims to be older than she looks despite looking like a teenager. When they're at the hotel, they're having sex. Someone next to the woman gets zapped in the mouth with a microchip that was inside the Halloween mask. Stacey Nelda's character Ellie is like, "What's that noise?" Tom Atkins says, "Who cares?" Ladies and gentlemen, this is your hero of the movie. This asshole medical doctor, dirtbag piece of shit, womanized, neglectful husband, father. Gee, some hero they made for this movie. This is a character you're either gonna like or not like, but at the same time, this is also the kind of movie where you're gonna be invested in the other characters or not. You can make the debate and point that the relationship between Dan and Ellie did not age well because of the age gap when you think about it. Despite trying to help solve the murder, who murdered Ellie's father, all he basically wanted to do is get laid by this pretty woman when you think about it. This movie does have its moments of being cheesy, having corny dialogue at times, but that was a common thing at the time with a lot of other 80s cult classic horror movies. The character Dan's wife was played by Nancy Kyes, the actress who played Annie in the first Halloween movie. Around this time, she was married to director Tommy Lee Wallace. You all might recognize that Tommy Lee Wallace later going to direct the 1990 Stephen King hit miniseries. Stacey Nelkin does a good job in this movie, a very believable character. You feel bad she lost her father, and she wanted to find out the truth about her father's death. She's naive, curious, and like an investigative reporter. I read that when she got this part, she had never seen the first two Halloween movies, and she watched the kept in preparation for this movie before she found out Michael Myers was not going to be in this movie. Well, at least you got a sense of John Carpenter's style, at least. Here's a crazy fact that's going to surprise you about this actress. She was one of Woody Allen's girlfriends and was the inspiration for the movie Manhattan. The movie Manhattan was based on Woody Allen's relationship with a much younger woman. I met Stacey Nelkin at Monster Mania this past year back in March. She was very nice and friendly and sweet, but of course, being the gentleman that I am, I did not ask her about Woody Allen's Manhattan. She signed a photo of my friend Bill Burns and a quote from the movie. My friend Bill Burns loves this movie. If you want to know what his thoughts are about on Halloween 3, go check out my friend Christian's Halloween podcast retrospect I did back in 2017 we did together. When I told her this autograph was from my friend Bill, she told me that was very nice of me to get a signed autograph for him. It was also a good twist that she was a robot. Didn't see that one coming. I've also met Tom Atkins twice. My first time meeting was at Chiller Theater in 2022. He signed a Halloween 3 season Season of the Witch movie poster from my friend Bill Burns. I met this past year at Monster Mania. This time I got a photo selfie with him. Very nice guy, Tom Atkins. The character Colonel Cochran is the one good positive thing about this movie. He was a very good horror villain. He gives a good speech explaining to Dan what Halloween really means compared to today's modern Halloween generation. It's very creepy and scary the way he explains the origins of Halloween. He hates how Halloween's become a greedy joke, money-making commercial corporation, and he wants to return Halloween to its older, darker roots of ritual sacrifices, a dark god, and satanic cults, and witchcraft. Before we find he's the bad guy, he does a good job hiding his bad side. I think he's a sweet, kind, old gentleman, humble guy who's a good businessman, wants to make sure everyone has a nice, happy Halloween, and make children happy. But little did we know, he's worse than Michael Myers. He wants to destroy the world and kill all the children. Michael Myers is psychologically pure evil. This guy is the devil of pure evil. When people criticize no Michael Myers in this movie, my criticism before was where are the witches until I realized Colonel Cochran is the witch of this movie. The movie has brutal kills, they are very grotesque, and they have very good special effects. In a way, the mass shrinking feels like a body horror style like in a David Cronenberg movie. But you might not like seeing kids die in this movie. Sometimes the kill scenes make you feel uncomfortable or send a spine tingle of just can't even imagine dying like this. When I was rewatching this movie, when Tom Atkins' character is fighting someone, I did not realize it was a stuntman, Dick Warlow, who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2. I read the director of this movie, Tommy Lee Wallace, said in interviews, if this movie was just called Season of the Witch and not Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, this movie could have been more successful, which I can agree and see that, but at the same time, we'll never know. Despite this movie was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, just like Halloween 2, it feels like John Carpenter. Some of the shots feel like it was done by John Carpenter, but not like Halloween 2 where he ghosted some scenes. Like any John Carpenter movie, the score is very good as always. They recycled some of the old score from the first Halloween movie. This is the last Halloween movie John Carpenter and Deborah Hill worked on. This is also the last Halloween score John Carpenter worked on too. Believe it or not, Nigel Neal originally wrote the movie, but requested to have his name not shown in the credits. The reason why that is, his name is not in the opening credits because of disagreements he had with film producer Dino De Laurentiis. Wanted the film to be more violent, and whereas Nigel Neal wrote the Hammer Quatermass movies and Hammer's The Abominable Snowman, his movies were on the psychological side and cerebral. He wanted this movie to be more satirical. Also, they originally wanted Joe Dante to direct this movie. Joe Dante turned it down because of creative differences, and instead he moved on to another film project. I'm not sure if this is the best comparison. In Friday the 13th, The New Beginning, fans were mad and upset that Jason was not the killer in that movie because he died in part 4, and let's not forget, Jason was not the killer in the first Friday the 13th movie. The New Beginning was more about Tommy's psychological problems. One thing I know some fans have pointed out this movie that has an Invasion of Body Snatchers type of feel to it. Also, what I read, they shot this movie in the same town where the original 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers was filmed. Especially the movie ends like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The movie ends on a cliffhanger ending like John Carpenter's The Thing remake. No definitive answer on whether or not if the world died or the world was saved. There's a novelization of this movie. I never read it, but according to what I read on IMDb.com, in the book novelization, the world is saved. Before I end this video, here's my friend Joey giving his thoughts on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Halloween 3 is another one of my favorites in the series. This time it don't star Michael Myers, but or Donald Pleasant either. But it's still, in my opinion, a great movie. But yeah, that's one I forgot about. Donald Pleasant wasn't in that either, but he was in part 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. He still was in most of them. He was in most of them, and part 6 was his last one. But in this one, there was never no Michael Myers, and a lot of people at the time, and even I guess some people now don't like it because he wasn't in it. But in my opinion, well, I think there's a lot of people now that did come towards to like this movie. But in my opinion, I always liked it because it was something different in the series, and it was like Jason Goes to Hell. It was a different something different in the series, or like Jason Takes Manhattan, something different. So that's what I like about this movie. And even though Michael Myers wasn't in it, it was about robots and stuff like that. But in my opinion, it still was good. It was also in Creepshow and Night of the Creeps. Those were two good movies too. But I recommend this movie too. And it has a lot of special effects. good effects, because this was before CGI. Like I said, I liked the movies then, and it had a lot of robot and stuff in it. And I recommend this movie. In my opinion, it's a good movie. So I would recommend this one also.
I don't hate this movie. I respect why some people may or may not like it. I understand what they were trying to do and took a risk of trying to do a Twilight Zone anthology movie series. It's not one of my favorites and go-to Halloween movie I need to watch as soon as possible. I need to be in a specific mood to watch this movie on rare occasions and see if I find any value to it, but on more viewings to see if it'll grow on me. I see the concept being good, but it's the characters that prevents me from liking this movie. Sometimes I'm invested in this movie, sometimes I'm not invested. With the recent announcement on reinventing the Halloween series, they may go back to the concept, no Michael Myers, and just make an anthology series. It could be like American Horror Story in a way. Is it a good movie on its own? Well, that depends on the individual. My advice, go in with an open mind, understand that Michael Myers is not in this movie, and that the movie is its own thing. We'll also never know how the series could have been like if they had gone the anthology route. Also, the question is, was this the best attempt at starting a possible anthology horror series? Who knows? That was my video of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Tomorrow, Michael Myers is back, baby. And Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. See you tomorrow.